Kwame, it's so interesting that we're talking about negotiation, but we have spent the last few minutes talking about this sort of how do you have that mindset? How do you have humility, self-awareness, emotional intelligence? Because negotiation is not a new topic. It's been out
Right.
there for a while. Are there things that's out there that drives you crazy where, people talk about negotiation, you're like, no, man, dude, that doesn't work, or that's a myth. Are there
Yeah.
things out there that's like that?
Yeah. I think the absolutes in negotiation
Uh,
are annoying. Some people would say always make the first offer or never make the first offer. And I'm like, you're showing me your negotiation skills by how definitive you're being. That's that that's my
yeah, okay.
perspective. Because we
Yeah.
have practical experience and then we have science that says the very, very simple, non-controversial answer. So if I have more information or as much information as the other side, I'm going to try to make the first offer. If I have less information than the other side, I'm going to let them make the first offer. Let's break this down really simply. So imagine if we're negotiating and you're applying to a job with me. You get the job. Congratulations, because you're stellar. And I say, well, so you know what would you like to make? And you say, I want to make $150,000. And I say, oh, whoa, absolutely, let's do this right now.
You're like, no.
What did I do? He said that so quickly. How much money would I leave on the table?
Right,
Right?
right.
Simple thing, right? Within that situation, you didn't have as much information. You made the first offer and you made a bad first offer. Or the other side is you say, oh, I want $300,000. I'm like, hey, Howie, listen, I love you, man, and I respect you too much to even engage in this negotiation. I'm sorry. You need to find something better for you.
Right,
Right?
right,
And now you overshot it. So either
right.
you're operating off of hope. You can undershoot it and hurt yourself and leave a lot of value on the table, or overshoot it and seem silly or lose credibility, right? And the thing is, an offer is nothing but information. What you want to do is you want to sit back and let them make the first offer, so then you get information that comes with the offer and then you counter that offer. But if I have more information or the same amount of information, then I'm going to use the tool of anchoring, because I
Mm,
recognize that anchoring is a priming bias that has a disproportionate impact on the perspective of the end of the negotiation. Every offer is going to be compared to the anchor. It's the contract principle. It's one of the strongest tools in negotiation. So for the people who say I never make the first offer, I'm like, so you're going to allow the other side to
to
use the most
anchor.
powerful tool in negotiation? It's like I'm going into a gunfight and it's like, forget the gun, give me the knife.
Right,
It's
right,
a
right, right. Always use the knife. Always use
always,
the knife.
always. And that's the new. That's the way I'm going to say it. Always use
Yeah,
the knife,
always use the
right?
knife. No matter what fight you're in, just use the knife. Yeah.
Just yeah. So that's my thing. Whenever people talk about absolutes and
Mm,
they're like, always do this, never do that, I can usually come up with a circumstance where I have personally or coached somebody who has done the opposite effectively. People think it's the law degree and the master's of public policy and the years practicing law and years as a mediator that got me to this point. But when people do the trainings, they're shocked at how neuroscience heavy it is. Because for me, I want to think about what are the psychological barriers that can be in my way? How do I navigate around those? What are the potential biases that I could utilize ethically in my favor? I want to utilize those, and the
yeah.
psychological principles that I could use. That'll look and sound differently, even if I'm using the same principle with different people. And so if we are very skilled negotiators, we can create bespoke strategies in the moment for the situation and the person in front of us.
Kwame, I love that. What are other highly leverageable but underused principles that you see out there that's happening today?
Here's a good one. Very simple. Sometimes you might hear a song the first time you hear a song, and you're like, song's all right. And then by the fifth time you hear the song, you're like, man, I love this song. This is my jam, right? I think you're going to see a pattern here. One of the things is I look at humans as a human. I want to say I too am human. We are silly animals, honestly. Like we're silly animals. And this thing that I'm talking about right now is called the mere exposure effect. It's the
Yeah,
exact same
I love
thing,
that one.
but
Yeah.
because we have been merely exposed to it multiple times and it was not negative, it was neutral or a little bit positive, we then start to like that thing more. And think about people that we see every day. You start walking past the same person enough times, and then you say hi, and then you start a conversation. How did this friendship happen? They just happened to be in my presence numerous times. That that's it. And so I think one of the things that people miss out on is that they rely too heavily on negotiation skills and not creating personal connections. And so if I recognize that there is a possibility, a prospect that I might have a
Mhm.
negotiation or tough conversation with somebody, I start building the relationship right now. Because even if I don't have one, if I don't have that tough conversation, it never manifests itself. At least I still have a friend or a good relationship. But if I can start making strategic deposits into the relationship bank account, having deeper conversations over time, then when we have this conversation, we have much more resilience. We have a firmer foundation. And I don't need to use as many negotiation skills because you already feel positively toward me because we have a relationship. I've recognized that as I've gotten better at negotiation, I've had to use classical negotiation techniques less.